He is happy who lives in conditions corresponding to his temperament, but he is more perfect who knows how to adapt his temperament to any conditions. Schadenfreude is an unprovoked desire to harm another person in order to experience pleasure by comparison with one's own position. Love is nothing but the desire for happiness for another. The world is a complex of sensations of perception. People are not able to change their nature. Freedom, whatever it may be, is lost, as a rule, gradually. Never before has a man given up on life, when it was at least something else worth it. My highest happiness, my complete satisfaction consists in reading, walking, dreaming, thinking. All that we call heroic prowess and admire as greatness and loftiness of spirit is nothing but calm and firmly grounded pride and self-respect. Mankind's original religion is chiefly engendered by an anxious fear for the future. Absolute loneliness is probably the most terrible punishment that can fall on us. Any pleasure weakens and disappears when we receive it in solitude, and each trouble becomes more cruel and unbearable. Never before has a man given up on life when it was at least worth something else. Not every man can be a philosopher, just as far as not every philosopher can remain a man. The tendency to joy and hope is true happiness, the tendency to fear and melancholy is real misfortune. Nothing is free like a man's thought. When I hear that this or that person is religious, I immediately think that he is a swindler, although I knew many very good people who were believers. Nothing can be more commendable than the consciousness of our own dignity in those cases when we really have valuable qualities. What age or what period of life is most conducive to superstition? The weakest and most timid. And what gender? The same answer should be given to this. In pity there is always an admixture of love and tenderness, and in gloating, an admixture of hatred or anger. Nature is always stronger than principles. When religiosity is combined with a passion for the miraculous, then the end of all common sense and the testimony of people loses all authority. A person who talks about himself for a long time, it is difficult to avoid vanity. Darkness is no less disgusting to the mind than to sight. Nothing can give us such pleasure as the opportunity to turn darkness into light, no matter how hard it costs. A true skeptic is just as distrustful of his doubts as he is of philosophical writings. When the light condemns us, slanders us, we should not get angry, but rather consider whether there is any basis in these condemnations. People have a general tendency to represent everything that exists as similar to themselves and to attribute to each object those qualities with which they are intimately familiar and of which they are directly aware. The assumption that the future is like the past is not based on any arguments, but arises solely from habit, which forces us to expect in the future the sequence of objects to which we are accustomed. Undoubtedly, the majority of people will always prefer an easy and clear philosophy to a precise but difficult one, and many will recommend the first, considering it not only more pleasant, but also more useful than the second. A story rejected by everyone in the place where it was first put into circulation will be considered reliable at a distance of 1,000 miles from there. No witness testimony can serve as proof of a miracle, except in a situation where the falsity of the evidence seems even more incredible than the fact that it is supposed to confirm. Chance and fate are nothing but empty words, stubborn prudence is the fate of man. We condemn every deceit, every violation of the word, because we believe that freedom and breadth of communication between people are completely dependent on the faithfulness of the promise. Pity is sympathy for the misfortune of others, and gloating is joy over such, and this sympathy and this joy are not caused by either friendship or enmity. We pity even people we do not know and are completely indifferent to us, harm and resentment, then it is vindictiveness. If a traveler, returning from distant lands, would begin to tell us about people completely devoid of stinginess, ambition, or vindictiveness, finding pleasure only in friendship, generosity, and patriotism, we would immediately, on the basis of these details, discover the falsity in his story and prove that he lies, with the same certainty, as if he had filled his story with tales of centaurs and dragons, miracles and tall tales.